Hey, what up YouTube? It's your boy ZenoZT, or also known as the My Hero What Ifs, and welcome back to part 3 of What If Deku Was Invincible. Play my shit! Last episode in What If Deku Was Invincible. Deku had been training with his father for 10 months and he made huge progress when it comes to developing his strength, speed, and his senses. As we continue through the story, he went on to the UA entrance exam and he succeeded. He succeeded with flying colors, but he doesn't know that yet. So we jump back into the story once again. Deku, after a week from the UA entrance exam, he was sitting with his family, having fun and talking about it, but being nervous underneath it all, until they heard the bell ringing, and Izuku jumped from his seat in the sofa and went running to the door. As he opened, the mailman said, "Are you Izuku Midoriya?" As he said, "Yes, that's me." As Izuku signed on the papers and took a package from the delivery man. As he went inside, his father and his mother were looking at him like, "What is that?" Until Deku said, "It's the result, Mom. It's the result." As Izuku was feeling pretty nauseous at what the results will be, even though he knows that he did pretty well for the entrance exam. And his father said, "Son, this is your moment. You should do it in your room. We don't want to invade your privacy after all." And his mother affirmed what his father said, and Deku went to his room. As he opened the mailbox, as he opened the mail and found a letter with the UA stamp on it, he looked, "Ooh, I wonder what they will say. I wonder if I did good." As he opened and ripped the envelope, a small metal disc fell on the ground, and a projection of the number one hero appeared out of nowhere with his signature line, "I am here." As Izuku said, "All Might," and he was having this fanboy aura to him, and All Might started explaining that what a hero is essentially, and telling him that he did a great job and that he is the number one when it comes to the results of the UA entrance exam, and that the record has not been broken since his day in UA. And Izuku felt pride that even though he surpassed All Might in something, and as All Might congratulated Deku on becoming one of UA's students, the revelation came to Deku. All Might? What is he doing there? I guess that's why he said I'm gonna be meeting you in UA. Cool. As the disc went off and Izuku got out of his room and went downstairs to his parents, as his mother was so excited and she was asking him how did it went, stuttering all over the place. And his father had this stern look to his face, and Izuku said, "I passed." And his mother said, "Congratulations," as she went and hugged Izuku. And then you can hear Nolan's voice. "You passed, but at what rank?" In a stern, cold voice towards Izuku. And Izuku said, "Number one, Dad. I broke the records." And Nolan came walking towards Izuku and he ruffled his hair. "You did good, son. Now, we should celebrate this." As Izuku said, "What do you have in mind, Dad?" As Nolan looked at Izuku, "Remember that cafe in Berlin?" Izuku said, "My favorite?" "Sweet!" As Izuku was gleaming and bright smile plastered on his face as he told his son and his wife to go get themselves ready as they are about to leave for the party. They went to Berlin, had a huge party for Izuku, and they were having fun eating the famous Berlin hot dogs or whatever they are, and they were having fun until the next day went on. Until the next day, then Deku got his uniform. He wore it proud of his achievement, and his father looking at him. "So, The long road of the hero starts now. Is this what you really want to be? As he looked curiously at Deku, and Izuku said, "Yeah, Dad. I want to be just like you, after all. You're my hero." As Nolan went to his son and brought him tight into a hug, and Izuku said, "Come on, Dad, that's embarrassing." And Nolan looked at him. Yeah, it is. As Nolan can show affection even though in the normal comics in the animation he's a cold-blooded bastard. But he still shows emotion in this one. As Deku got out of home, his father was leaning on the wall and his mother was saying goodbye with tears in her eyes that her baby boy finally left the nest to his high school life. And Nolan said, "Guess the little chick finally sprouted his wings, huh?" And Inko said, "Yeah, it seems that way," as she wiped the tears off her eyes, and Nolan looked at her curiously. "Now what?" And Inko looked at him. Now I have something in mind as the door closed to the house. We jump back into Izuku. Izuku went to UA as he was walking through the campus and looking around everything. He was feeling like never before. This happiness, this his achievement that he was the number one in the entrance exam, as he was gleaming and beaming with happiness as he looked. Now let's look for the class 1A, 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 1A. Until he met a gigantic door and he opened it curiously. And then he heard his childhood bully being quite a snotty brat towards another student who looked like he had a stick up his booty. And they were arguing about this and that, this and that. You should remove your legs from the table. And Izuku said, classic Bakugo. And that kid, the other one with the glasses, is enabling that kind of behavior. You should leave him alone, he said to himself, until he was spotted by the four-eyed boy, and the four-eyed boy was walking towards Izuku in a robot-like manner, and Izuku was looking at him curiously, until the four-eyed boy threw his hand for a handshake, and he introduced himself. "My name is Tenya Ida. Glad to meet you. You are a superior hero than me." And Izuku looked at him curiously while shaking Ida's hand, and then he looked at him. "What do you mean by that?" And Ida said, "You saved that girl while everybody ran, and I respect that. That's what a hero should strive to do." And Izuku said, "It was on the spur of the moment. I should have we should have all did that. That was the right thing to do, don't you think?" And Ida said, "Correct, that is the right thing to do," until the door opened once more and a brunette girl beaming with a warm energy jumped on Izuku's back and said, "I remember this shaggy hair anywhere." And then she started saying this and that, and she was hyping Izuku up while Izuku was looking at her. "Hi, Chaku. Glad to see you make it." And she said, "Same to you," as a caterpillar-like creature was on the ground looking at them, and they turned to him horror as he got out of his sleeping bag and introduced himself. "Name is Shota Aizawa. Took you 8 minutes to shut up. That won't make it in the hero course." As he got out and pulled a UAPE clothing and told them, "You should find this in your lockers. Get ready and let's go." And Izuku's only thought was, did he keep that inside his sleeping bag? Gross. And everybody went to their separate changing rooms, and they changed, and they met him outside of in the UA training camp, and then he looked at them. That entrance exam was irrational. I don't believe in it. You guys made it, but you need to prove yourself." And Uraka said, "What about the entrance ceremony?" He said, and then Aizawa chimed in. "In the hero course, there is no entrance ceremony. Every minute counts." As she felt shiver from his poison-laced words, and then he called on to Izuku Midoriya. "Izuku Midoriya, you made it as the number one in the entrance exam. Come here." As Izuku walked towards the sleep sleepy and tired teacher, and the teacher threw the ball to him. How far was your throw in the middle school? Izuku responded 67 meters, I guess. And he said, did you ever try to use your quirk with it? Izuku responded, no, actually. And he said, now use it. Show me what you got. As Izuku was sitting there thinking, should he use his full strength or should he take it a bit easy? And then Aizawa chimed in, if you don't use your full strength, you'll be expelled. This isn't gaming, this isn't sunshine and rainbow in games out here. Lives depend on your choices. So you better use your full strength and prove yourself. As Izuku looked at him and then he looked again. Okay, as he grabbed the ball and he cocked his hand backwards, throwing the ball and making it rocket towards the atmosphere, piercing the layers as it continued going on and on and on and on. And the only thought inside Izuku's head was, please don't blow up a planet, please don't blow up a planet, please don't blow up a planet. And then Aizawa looked at his phone and said, then he showed the other students. It was marked as infinity as the ball continued picking up speed and picking up momentum and continued into outer space. As Izuku rubbed the back of his head, and then Bakugo was in such a rage state that he couldn't control himself as he lunged towards Izuku. Izuku's first fight or flight response was to put himself in guard, to throw a punch. He was ready to fight until Aizawa used his binding cloth to bind Bakugo and used his quirk to cancel Bakugo's quirk. Do that once again and you are out. As Bakugo felt his strength escaping his hands and escaping his body as he put himself down, and Aizawa looked at them. Let's continue with their exams. As the next exams, Izuku excelled in every one of them, as the other students started picking up that Izuku might have multiple quirks, super strength, and the grip test as he broke the machine, crushing it in his hand, and the ball throw, he destroyed it. Side to side jumps, he did it, and in his 50-meter dash, he straight up started floating and bombastically went through the finish line in mere seconds as every student was looking at them. And then an unexpected voice chimed in. It was Shoto Aizawa. So, another kid with multiple quirks, huh? As Izuku looked at him. What do you mean multiple quirks? As Shoto responded, you display multiple quirks, super strength, super speed, and the ability of flight. How can that be mixtured into one quirk? Izuku said, yeah, I have multiple quirks actually. As he was as he was going with the flow of the conversation for not blowing his and his father's secret identities. As the day continued and the class was waiting for the result, Izuku Midoriya was first in the board of the name board, and he was feeling proud of himself. As under him was Shoto Todoroki, as under him was Yayuro Momo with her creative quirk, and under them was Shoto Shoto Todoroki, and then Bakugo Katsuki. Bakugo was seething with anger and rage for him to place a number 4, but the other students were thinking something else. He threatened us with expulsion as everyone was waiting to the last decision, and then Aizawa said, you did good, nobody will be expelled. I actually used that to trick you guys to do your best. As the last person was Hagakuri, she was crying tears of joy not being kicked out of the hero course, as she was feeling relieved. And Aizawa said, who in their right mind will kick someone with your potential for stealth ability? as Hakakuri was reassured by Aizawa's word and Momoya Hirozu's word as the day went on. In the next period, Izuku and the others were in class and they started forming their groups. Izuku, as in the usual, he was paired with Uraraka and Ida Tenya and maybe other students like Hiroshima because they found his display of strength manly and uncomparable as they started asking him in lunch period about his strength, about his abilities, and Deku started explaining that he has super strength, super speed, and the ability of flight. And everyone was chiming in, and then Denki Kaminari responded, "So you're like a Superman, don't you think?" And Izuku said, in a shy voice, "I don't like people calling me that." And Izuku said, "Actually, I developed my powers not too long ago." And they said, "What? You weren't born with these quirks?" Yeah, I actually developed my quirk not too long ago. I was actually pretty impressed with what I was blessed with. As the conversations continued and they went back to class after lunch period. The second period was Hero 101 as the teacher bombastically came through the door and introduced himself. It was All Might as the aura around the class changed. It was much more calm and filled with laughter and joy as Izuku and All Might's Sai met and All Might gave Izuku the look that you actually made it. As Izuku and All Might have actually met in the sludge incident and then All Might said, "Get your butts up and get ready and gear up. Today we have 101 on heroism." As everybody used their costume, as Izuku used his brand new costume with light blue and green to hide his secret identity. He did not go with the normal invincible costume because it was too much and he was pretty known right now in the past 10 months of his heroic deeds and him pairing up with Omni-Man fighting villains and other supernatural things. As they got ready and All Might complimented the children on their costumes, the day went on like that. Then the teams were picked. Team A, it was it was Izuku in Uraraka vs Team D. It was Bakugo vs Bakugo and Ida. As the other teams were picked normally, I don't want to change this too much because I want the story to be mixed in, not to make it all over the place, if you know what I mean. Back to the story. All Might started explaining what the hero should do. There was a bomb in one of the levels of the building and they need to touch it or capture all the villains so the exam will be over. Don't use lethal force as he looked towards Izuku and Bakugo and the others. No lethal force is allowed. You can use as much strength as you want, but don't go overboard. As he was warning each and every one of them not to surpass their limits against each other. After all, they are children training. As he looked at them, and if the bomb was blown or dented or any kind of that damaged, the test will be over and the villain team will be victorious. As he told the villain team to go and place the bomb in one of the levels, as Bakugo and Ida went onto some of the levels as they picked the bomb and placed it on the third floor, and Izuku and Uraraka was sitting outside as they started talking about a plan, and Izuku said, "I'll be the heavy hitter. You should be a stealth kind of character. You should look for the bomb while I distract others and capture it. I'm a bit more of a fighter than you, and I'm pretty sure that Bakugo will come at me in the first second we get into the building. You get that? And I don't want to get you hurt." As he said that, All Might gave the gave the go as they entered the building, and the moment they started walking through the first level you can hear screams from Bakugo as he was dissing the Izuku and Uraraka as he came from the corner and sent a huge blast as Izuku looked toward behind him to see Uraraka shivering in fear as he prepared himself putting his body right in front of her as he took the full brunt of the attack, blowing some of his costume away. And then he looked towards Bakugo. As Bakugo saw that, and he thought, I need to come up with another plan. As Bakugo disappeared from their sights and went on as he started thinking, so he can take my explosions, huh? We'll see. As he started thinking and going from place to place all over, he did not want to engage Izuku in a direct fight, even though that was the contrary to his character. He was now starting to use his brain. As Izuku said, that was unexpected, as he looked behind him to see Uraraka unscathed, and he told her, "Are you okay? Nothing happened to you, huh?" I guess Bakugo did not go the route I expected him to do. As Izuku and Uraraka continued walking through the level, as Uraraka felt bad and she felt worried towards Izuku, as she asked him, "Are you okay? Nothing happened?" And Izuku pumped his chest and he hit it and told her, "I'm pretty sturdy, don't worry." As they continued walking, and the attacks from Bakugo continued bit by bit, not causing too much damage, but it was starting to wear Izuku out. As you know, in the normal comics and in the animation, Invincible is not really invincible. Not at this point. He can still take damage from lesser beings like the Immortal, the Molar Twin, or whoever. If he takes enough damage, he will start feeling it. He took blows from everybody, and you can see the blood on his head, the blood on his nose, and the blood on his eyes. As Izuku started thinking, I need to get rid of him fast, as he told Uraraka to stay put. As Izuku started zooming through the building until he met Bakugo face to face, and he told him, "Enough running, Bakugo." As Bakugo said, "You finally came. I was preparing to do this." As he pulled the pin from his gauntlet, sending a huge explosion towards Izuku. As Izuku straight up guarded his chest in his face, as the explosion pushed Izuku towards the wall behind him as he crashed, and then Bakugo said, "That should have done it." As he was walking towards Izuku was acting up as if he was unconscious, until Bakugo was on top of him and started gloating and talking trash towards Izuku. Then Izuku grabbed his leg and he started floating up in the air. "You should have captured me and not talk trash," as he slammed Bakugo towards the ground. "Never use that deadly attack against your fellow heroes, do you understand?" As he destroyed one of the gauntlets that was full again, and then he looked towards the other as he destroyed it, as Bakugo used his explosion in his hand to blow Deku's face. But Deku continued looking at him as he thrown Bakugo towards the wall. Bakugo picked himself up as fast as he can and lunged towards Izuku as he was showing his fighting prowess and abilities, but Izuku was on the same level. Yet he looked at Bakugo trying to guard up any explosions directed towards his ears, because he knows that that is his weakness. And Bakugo started throwing huge haymakers and explosion, and Deku looking for an opening until Bakugo used his famous left hook, and Izuku countered it, picking Bakugo up, flying a bit in the air and slamming him in the ground, taking the breath out of Bakugo. And then Izuku grabbed Bakugo's hand and taped him as Bakugo was screaming. And then Izuku said, "That was your fault. You should have came to tape me, not talk trash. I do my work and I do it right." As he taped Bakugo, making him out of the game. As Uraraka continued being there, and then Deku came to her. "Now we should go." As he picked her up and told her, "Hang tight," as he was using a bit of his speed and while flying, looking from room to room until they reached the third floor. And then he said, "This is the only room that we haven't searched. What do you think? Should we go inside directly, or should we take the stealthy approach, sacrifice one head to grab another?" As Uraka said, you should be a distraction because you're faster and I can go grab the bomb. One should distract and other continue with the job." As Izuku said, "Okay." As they entered and barged through the room, as Izuku and Ida met face to face, as Ida started monologuing about his villain plan, in that he took everything for Uraka to use, as Izuku got into a fighting stance with Ida as they went towards each other. Ida using his kicks and Izuku dodging one after another, and that fight continued like that. Izuku did not want to overhurt Ida as he thrown a small punch without too much force behind it, sending Ida backwards, and Ida got up to out of breath as he said, that was hard. But as Ida jumped using a back kick towards Izuku's head, but Izuku did not move an inch as he grabbed. In the motion, he grabbed Ida and pinned him to the ground as Uraka touched the bomb, and they were declared the winners as they went towards the waiting room as normal. They were congratulated by All Might on the superb display of fighting ability and the ability to think ahead of time, as he made a remark that one of them seems to have fighting experience in dealing with this kind of situation, as he looked towards the kids and told them, who can tell me who was the MVP of this match, as Yayorozu chimed in and said, I would either give it to Ida or Izuku. He kept his head light, unlike Bakugo, who started gloating. If he did not, that might have caused the villains to win. But Izuku used the advantage, not sparing too much strength and not taking too much damage to the point of where he was out of it. Yet Ida, with him staying in the room with the bomb and guarding and taking every advantage out of the hero's hand, I would give it to both of them. As All Might said, correct, as he congratulated both Ida and Izuku as they looked towards each other in a nod of respect. The other matches continued as in the usual anime, like Todoroki won, Kaminari and Jiro won, and that went as in the normal anime. As the day was finally over and Izuku went home, as he was walking to a home with Ida and Uraka as they continued their day, till they reached Izuku's house. Everybody went to their own home as Izuku opened the door to find his parents not doing the deed, after they done the deed. And Izuku said, ugh, you can find me in my room. As his father and his mother started giggling, and Izuku went to his room and sat down, and he started thinking about his day until he heard a knock on the door. As he said, come in, until he opened the door and found his father. As his father entered his room and tried to tell Izuku something. Son, I think I should tell you this. As Izuku was bewildered and felt weirded out because the tone of his father was quite different from usual. But his father could not spew the words out, and Izuku looked at him. What's up, Dad? And Nolan looked at him. Nothing, son. I just wanted to ask you, how was your first day of high school? As Izuku said, it was amazing, Dad. I showed quite a lot of my strength. I showed them my fighting prowess, and the training I have been doing with you was paying off greatly. And Nolan said, I'm proud of you, son. Even if I don't show it that much, I'm proud of you. And those words touched Izuku's heart on a level that never been touched. As I'll be finishing off this part right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will continue to enjoy this. This was the winner of the poll I made yesterday, with 67% of what if Deku was invincible. Part 3, 27% of you chose what if Deku had Sunshine. Part 2, and 7% of you chose what if Deku had the Sharingan. The Sharingan what if will come with time if you guys choose it again. And what if Deku had Sunshine, I think it will be the video after this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank y'all for everything and tuning in with the channel. And without further ado, it's been your boy Xeno ZT, or the My Hero What If. I hope you guys enjoyed and have a blissful day, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.